So BetaFlight is canceling the 4.6 release.
Pause for dramatic effect.
But don't worry, they're coming out with the 2025 12 release, which is essentially BetaFlight 4.6, and they're going to a whole different release numbering scheme and release schedule, and let's get into talking about what that's going to be. So as outlined in this pull request, which I'll drop a link down below, BetaFlight is going to switch to a new version numbering sequence, and it's going to be year and month. That version numbering is going to align with the new schedule of when releases are going to be put out, which is going to be in December and June of every year, so a 6-month release schedule. At least that's the hope. This is a volunteer program, so we'll see how it goes. But again, the release, instead of 4.6 and all these numbers, it's going to be just a year and then the month of when it releases. So you'd get a 2025 or 2025 12, and then a 2026 06, and then a 2026 12, so on and so forth as you go through the different years. That same release numbering and schedule is going to be with the configurator as well, although that's going to be a little bit more transparent, at least for what I use, because I just use the online configurator at this point, and every time I go to the apps.betaflight.com, sometimes it says it needs to update it, and I'm like, sure, go ahead, and just I use that. But if you are downloading it to a local computer, you'll see those release names align with the BetaFlight names as well, which is basically what iNav does, but they don't use the year month notation. They just, I think they're on iNav 8, but then when they do a configurator or a release of iNav 8, then the configurator goes to 8. So it is a lot easier in that way. BetaFlight, they were always disjointed. Now they'll be aligned in the name, and then again, BetaFlight does have that online configurator if you use that, which I would highly recommend. Now, as kind of was in place in previous releases, there's going to be a 2-month feature freeze prior to release, and then 1 month for just release candidate and going through those stages. The intent and hope here is that the gap in between releases won't be so large, so you'll have more stable releases with less change in between them, so there won't need to be such long feature freeze, or it won't be so intense on the 2-month period for bug fixes, and then the 1-month period where it's just release candidate testing and any minor tweaks for the stable release. So anyways, 2 months prior to June and December, if you are in the development space, you're going to need to be thinking, like, if it's a new feature, you need to get that in so you're within that window. So obviously you can be working on it, bug fixes, things like that, but then in the release candidate phase, that last month, there's really going to be as little movement as possible. Obviously, it's still going to be bug fixes if they find stuff before the release date or the release month itself. Now, for this first switch over to this, there's going to be actually a 2-month release candidate window. So October and November will be release candidates in 2025 here for what's coming up to be, well, what was going to be BetaFlight 4.6 for stable release, but now it's going to be called 2025-12 or .12. So to some extent, we're already in the feature freeze for new features going into this, and then that release candidates are coming up pretty soon here. And if you are using the online configurator or flashing development releases for flying, which then you'll see this actually going into place already. If you're in there in expert mode and you have releases and set this to development for flashing a firmware, you'll no longer see up top here BetaFlight 4.6. Now it's going to say 2025-12, like I just discussed, because that's going to be the name for the release coming up. When you go into there and you see that, think of this 2025-12 as BetaFlight 4.6 essentially for this one, and then moving forward, you're just going to have those different release years and numbers, and it will be very easy going forward to know what, when was this release issued. You won't really need these date things behind it like they have here because it's kind of right in the file name. Okay, well, that's it. Pretty short and simple. What do you think about this? Drop any comments you have down below. I think it's good to, hopefully we can get to sticking to a release schedule that's more reoccurring. That I know was a goal in the past. It's always good if to reinvigorate that with specific dates. We'll see how it goes. As a volunteer, I kind of look at BetaFlight or any of these, so you kind of get what you get and you don't get upset, as they taught my kid in preschool. And the good words to live by with this, and appreciate everything everybody puts into in the configurator side and the iNav, BetaFlight side, all the developers that put in their hard work, effort on a volunteer basis to bring this flight firmware to it's the best it can be. Thanks again to all their efforts. Again, put any of those appreciations down below. Let those guys know, as if you ever volunteered for anything, appreciation is the payment. So you want to pay them, show them appreciation. That's how people get paid for volunteering. With that, thanks everybody. Hope this helped. We'll see you in the next one.